Hey there, it's E Squared Photography. I'm Erin.
And I'm Emily, and we are here to keep things simple and fun.
Are you new to photography and maybe you're thinking about booking your very first official family session? Well, we're here to share 5 of the tips that we would give you when going into your very first family session.
And make sure to stick around until the end because we have something special for you.
And by the end of this video today, we hope that you feel more confident going into that next session.
And for the best photography tips and tricks, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell for notifications of future videos.
Okay, let's dive in to our 5 tips when it comes to your very first family session. So tip number 1, plan, but don't over plan. So this was definitely a mistake that we made early on. We over-planned. We had high expectations and then left very defeated because our expectations weren't met. So it's important to have a plan, maybe an order that you think you should go in as far as posing goes, maybe a handful, and by handful we mean a handful of poses that you want to try. And then anything that comes up extra, if the family's cooperating and things are going smooth, then you can add that in at the end. But keeping it as simple as possible when first starting out is super important. However, going in with somewhat of a plan will also help you feel better and make you look more professional at your first session.
Tip number 2 is get to know your clients. So we always send out a questionnaire to our families, and we are asking the ages of the children because we want to know if we're going to have a 1-year-old versus an 18-year-old. So we really need to know the ages of the children. And then along with that, we are asking interests of the children. So we would like to know if little Tommy, who's 5, if he's interested in Paw Patrol, then we know at the session we can pull that out of our bag and start talking to him about Paw Patrol and all of those things to get him warm and comfortable with us. And then it's also really nice to ask all of the names of the people that will be coming to this session so you can prepare ahead of time and know that the little boy is Tommy, the little girl is Lily, or whatever it might be, so you're prepared and you can call them by their own name.
The ages are also super important to remember when thinking about what props to bring. So if you do have a 6-month-old that maybe can't quite sit up or whatever it might be, you know what you could bring to help make that work. Tip number 3 when it comes to your first family session would be to location scout. So what we mean by location scout is find a location or locations that you think would work well. However, the biggest and most important thing when location scouting is going at the time that your session is actually going to happen. So if your session is at 7:30 p.m., that's the time you should be going out to location scout. So you can get some test shots, maybe bring someone along with, whether it be a daughter or son or maybe a friend or a family member. Bring somebody along to get a couple test shots, but so important to go at that specific time. Comment below right now and let us know, what are you most nervous about when it comes to family photography?
Let's move on to tip number 4. So tip number 4 is know your camera settings. So being prepared and understanding what camera settings need to be set at for the size of the family you're shooting, whatever it might be, the location you're shooting in. That's why going back to location scouting is so important, because you can prepare and you can figure out those camera settings ahead of time as much as possible. Now, if you're still super confused, maybe you find yourself shooting in automatic mode, or you get really nervous when you're thinking about manual mode and getting those camera settings right, we do have a free training that is going to simplify manual mode for you, and you can check that out in the description below.
And just one more thing, going all the way back to location scouting, keep in mind that a sunny day is going to look a lot different than an overcast and cloudy day. So it's important, and what we really try and do is we try and go on sunny days if possible, because the sun impacts us so much when shooting. So keep that in mind as well. And our last tip to make a smoother transition into your very first family session is don't be hard on yourself. So give yourself some grace. This is your very first family session. You are here to practice and get used to it. So if you're not happy with how it went, if you're not necessarily happy with how the images are in the end, try and look at it as a learning opportunity and try not to be so hard on yourself.
All right, so hopefully this video helped you feel a little bit more comfortable going into your first family session. And we know that we already talked about the free manual mode training. So if you are someone who struggles with camera settings, make sure to check that out. In addition to that, we have a free family posing guide that you can get your hands on as well. So make sure to check that out in the description below.
And if you enjoyed this video today, make sure to subscribe, like, and share with a friend so we know to make more videos just like this one.
And if you don't already, follow us on Instagram at e2photography. And we will see you next week.